Hi there, it's Chris here with selfmadenewbie.com, and in this video we're going to go through the best XiaoMi phones currently out there today. Now I've kept this list as comprehensive as possible, narrowing it down to my absolute favorite top 5, so no matter what you're looking for, there'll definitely be something in this list for you. So before we jump in, drop a like, subscribe and hit the bell to be updated with new videos. Alright, as usual, I'm going to skip the fluff and jump right in. If you want to confirm the recommendations, go in the description there and check out that list to ensure you get the best price. Alright, so the first one is my recommendation for my personal favorite, and this is the Xiaomi 13. So you know when they say you can't buy happiness, but you can buy the latest tech gadgets, and that's pretty much the same thing? Well, speaking of which, let's dive into the phone that's making waves even without making it to every region, and that's the Xiaomi 13. It's like that band everyone likes but can't buy their concert tickets because they only play exclusively in certain venues. Key features: it came out in March 2023, making it newer than my resolution to exercise every day. Dimensions and weight: a pretty sleek 152.8 by 71.5 by 8 millimeters and around 185 grams, which for those curious is much lighter than my ex's emotional baggage. Operating system: it runs Android 13 with MIUI 14, and display 6.36 inch screen with 1080 by 2400 resolution, basically the perfect size for binge watching cat videos or anything else you claim you're not watching. Processor: Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, it's like giving a sports car engine to your phone. And memory and storage comes in two flavors, 8 or 12 gig of RAM and a generous 256 of storage. But remember, if you're in the UK, you only get the 8 gigabyte version, much like your limited sunlight. Camera: a rear setup with 50 megapixel wide, 10 megapixel telephoto, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and 32 megapixel front camera, because if your selfie game isn't strong in 2023, when will it be? Design: it's a blend of sleekness, and I've seen that somewhere before. Seriously, it's like if an iPhone went on a date with a Xiaomi and they had a kid. So who's it for? If you're someone who craves speed both in life and phone processors, then this might be your new best buddy. If you're in the US, well, it's like being left out of a party you didn't even know was happening. So despite its regional memory quirks and borrowing maybe a tad too much from Apple's design playbook, the Xiaomi 13 still stands tall. The next one on the list is my recommendation for the best budget option, and this is the Xiaomi Redmi Note 11 Pro. So if you're like me, you love a good bargain, you know, like finding a $20 bill in an old jacket or snagging the last donut in the office. Now, what if I told you could get that same kind of thrill in a phone? So this is like the champagne of the budget phone world, but you know, without the champagne price. The dimensions of this: a cozy 164.2 by 76.1 by 8.1 millimeters and 202 grams, so it's kind of like holding a fancy paperweight. Operating system: Android 12, no sprinkles on this one, just pure Android goodness. Display: 6.67 inch AMOLED panel with 1080 by 2400 resolution, so like watching cat videos on a tiny cinema screen. Snapdragon 695 processor with the options for 6 or 8 gigabytes of RAM and storage choices between 64 and 128 gigabytes. So think of it as that dependable family car. Not flashy, but does get the job done. The camera: 108 megapixel main cam for those moments you think are worth capturing in great detail. An 8 megapixel ultra wide for when you have too many friends, and a 2 megapixel tele micro. Oh, and the 16 megapixel front camera for those budget friendly selfies. So who's this for? If you're the kind of person who wants a phone that screams, "I'm practical and savvy," then take a bow, because this is your jam. It might not film your dog's antics in 4K or dazzle with HDR video playback, and the chipset is as remarkable as a ham sandwich, but it's a beast in the battery department, and that screen is nothing short of bold. It's also worth mentioning that it's your younger sibling. The Redmi Note 12 is making rounds, but for the price, this 11 Pro 5G does still pack a punch, which is why it is on this list. The next one is my recommendation for the best for most people, and this is the Xiaomi 12 Pro. So let's play a game of what was great last year but is still kind of relevant this year. I'm not talking about that one song stuck in your head. I'm referring to the Xiaomi 12 Pro, a phone that's been around the block but still has swagger. So introduced in April 2022, so this phone's got more history than most of my relationships. Dimensions and weight: measuring 163.6 by 74.6 by 8.2 millimeters and weighing 205 grams. So it might not be feather light, but at least it won't blow away. Operating system: Android 12, so some retro vibes there. And display: 6.7 inch screen with 1440 by 3200 resolution, so you can spot the kale stuck in your teeth from your lunchtime selfie. Processor, Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, still packing a punch. And memory, 8 gig or 12 gig of RAM with storage options of 128 or 256 gig. It's like the buffet of phones. Pick your poison. Camera, triple 50 megapixel threat on the rear, wide, ultra wide at 115 degrees, telephoto with 2x optical zoom, and a 32 megapixel front cam, because 3 is better than 1, unless we're talking about blind dates. Charging, did I mention it has an incredibly fast 120 watt charging? That's like 0 to let's get the party started in no time. So is this for you? Well, if you fancy an all-rounder that's like the Swiss Army knife of phones, then absolutely. But be warned, it's got a bit of a camera shyness when it comes to zooming, so no spying on your neighbors, at least not in high definition. And while it doesn't have a fancy IP rating, it's still a bit of a splash-proof rebel. So despite these flaws, for those of us who aren't always chasing the latest and greatest but still want something solid, it is a solid option. The next one is my recommendation for the best compact option, and this is the standard Xiaomi 12. So do you ever think maybe bigger isn't always better? And I'm talking about phones here, so get your minds out the gutter. But meet the Xiaomi 12, the phone that says sizes and everything and means it. So dimensions and weight, 152.7 by 69.9 by 8.2 millimeters, and weighs 180 grams, so smaller than most diets claim they'll make you. Operating system, it's rocking Android 12. Display, 6.28-inch screen and a 1080 by 2400 resolution. It's like the perfectly sized TV for ants. Processor, still revving the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 engine. And memory, choose between 8 or 12 gig of RAM and storage of 128 or 256. It's like a compact car with that V12 engine. The camera, a trifecta of 50 megapixel wide, 13 megapixel ultra wide at 123 degrees, and 5 megapixel tele macro along with 32 megapixel selfie snapper. So no, you can't zoom, but hey, sometimes life is better without the close-ups. So who's this for? If you've ever fumbled with a phone that feels like it's the size of a small nation, this might be your jam. It's compact, neat, and won't make you feel like you're weightlifting every time you send a text. Although heads up, it tends to be a bit hot under the collar, kind of like me in a math test. But if you prefer a snug fit over something that's compensating for maybe something else, then this small wonder could be the petite treat that you've been craving. The next one is the best gaming option. This is the Xiaomi Black Shark 5 Pro. So you know how some of us have a wild side? Well, some phones do too. They're not just here to send cheeky texts or take duck face selfies. Some phones are here to game hard, and if they were human, they'd probably have neon hair and a pretty cool tattoo or something. And that's the Xiaomi Black Shark 5 Pro, the rock star, you could say, of gaming phones. The dimensions, 163.9 by 76.5 by 9.5 millimeters, and a solid 220 grams. More muscle than your gym buddy Derek. Operating system, Android 12, but spiced up with the Joy UI because regular UI is just too mainstream. Display, a 6.67-inch screen with 1080 by 2400 resolution, so again, IMAX for ants. Processor, boasting the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 and a choice of 8 or 12 gigabytes, or the mammoth 16 gigabytes of RAM. It's got more horsepower than a unicorn on steroids. Camera with a 108 megapixel main shooter, because why not? A 13 megapixel ultra wide and a 5 megapixel tele micro, and a 32 megapixel front camera for when you need to snap your victorious gaming face. Conclusion, if you've ever thought, I wish my phone was also a gaming controller, then this is a dream come true. The pop-up triggers on this thing, it's like turning your phone into a Swiss Army knife, but for gaming. A word of caution though, this bad boy also gets a bit hot, hotter than a summer romance, and might need a juice up more often than you'd like. But if gaming on the go is your thing, and you like your phones like you like your rock music, loud and bold and with a hint of rebellion, then this might be for you. Alright, so those are my recommendations. If you have any questions, you can drop them down below, and if you found value in this video, drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.